Hey, what's up guys, Trevor James here, and I'm bringing you guys a slightly special video today. This is not a normal Yu-Gi-Oh video. It is reviewing a structure deck, but this is quite a little bit different. For those of you that know what Orcas are, they're basically a type of card that you can't really play. Obviously, it's a fake card. Usually it represents a real card, but in today's matter it doesn't. But this actually is a Orca structure deck, which I've never reviewed anything like this, but I was looking on Etsy, and I saw this guy called Pegasus. Wait, hold on. I have his thing right here. He's called Pegasus Fantasy Cards, and he basically creates Yu-Gi-Oh! Orca decks for pretty much like every anime-only deck out there. And for one of my favorite seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! It would be the Seal of Orichalcos, or the Dawn of the Dragons, whatever you want to call it, season, where you have Darts, the main mastermind, who basically takes people's souls in these battles, along with all of his other guys that basically also take people's souls when they win duels. So very, very dark for an anime arc, but I always really liked the cards that was in this, and it just so happens that he has a ton of these decks, all made specifically by him. That is all specifically Orca decks based off these anime cards. So that's what I kind of going to go over with you. So I ended up ordering one, and of course the one that I ended up ordering is Dart's final deck in the anime, and it has some incredible cards in here. And what I think is really cool is he's actually created some of his own custom cards that were never even played, just to kind of add a little bit more spice to the deck. And then he kind of gave me this little promo thing. This is not the same type of quality of the rest of his cards, but I guess this would kind of give away, like, the kind of quality. This is not really that great quality, but his actual cards in here are quite excellent. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this deck. I don't want to be rambling anymore, but if you guys can see, the box looks really nice for a custom, you know, fan-made box. So it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Rise of Atlantis structure deck. And if we flip it to the back here, it says, from the depths of Atlantis arise some of the most powerful cards in all Yu-Gi-Oh! History. Seal up your opponents with the Seal of Orichalcos, bring divine and fast judgment with the Divine Serpent, create the ultimate offense and defense with Orichalcos, Shunros, Aristoros, and Dexia. Bring on the end of all days and enslave all of humanity with the power of the Orichalcos and the Great Leviathan. So, put together very well. It has a creepy little picture of Darts on the back of there, and then it's got pretty much the list of all the cards in here. And as you guys can see reading these, there's basically no cards in here that are actual real non-anime cards. It says Pegasus Fantasy Cards 2014, so this is version 2 of this deck that he's made. From what I've read, this is the best one out of the specific Rise of Atlantis structure deck. It says this structure deck includes 37 common cards, 1 ultra rare card, 1 super rare card, and 1 secret rare card. So a lot of commons and then some really cool cards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this. One other thing is, it doesn't look like he's taped this, so I guess it can be used more than once, of course. So this is all of the cards in here, as you guys can see. Really good quality. And then he looks like he actually puts the card in a sleeve? Oh, okay. So that's the main card. He actually slides it in a sleeve. And this is Divine Serpent Ge, which is the Divine Serpent for Darts. So, secret rare, I guess. This is the secret rare. It actually looks really nice. And it says, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except with Orichalcos Shunros. When this card is summoned, send all cards in your hand to the graveyard and your life points become 0. Holy crap. This card gains infinity attack. This card cannot declare an attack unless you send the top 10 cards of the deck to the graveyard. When you control this card, you cannot lose the duel. So this completely changes the way that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played. That's kind of insane. Basically, you go down to 0, and if this card dies, then you lose the duel automatically. But it's an infinity attack model, so you guys can see why Konami never made this into a real card. But yeah, that's the promo. Divine Serpent, yeah. Or Divine Serpent. And then, let's go ahead and open up this package. It even is packaged really nicely, guys. So, for something that is fan-made and something that is basically just a straight-up fake deck, in a way, it is actually put together really well. If I can just figure out how to open this. Okay, I'm just gonna cut, like, right here. There we go. And let's go ahead and get to these cards, and we'll check all of these out. So, take this sleeve thing off. These feel, honestly, just like real cards. Like, straight up, feel like real cards. Very, very cool. Okay, so, we have Orichalcos Gigas, and we have 3 of these. That's actually really cool art for that, too. And it says, Beast Warrior, when this card is destroyed, you can special summon it immediately. If you activate this card effect during your opponent's turn, skip your next draw phase. This card gains 500 attack, the number of times it was special summoned by your own effect. So basically, if this thing dies, you can just special summon it back from your graveyard, and you skip your next draw phase, but it gains 500 attack. For the number of times it was special summoned. So every time this dies, it comes back, and that's the exact anime effect for this guy, so that's pretty sweet. And if you guys look, even the back of the cards, they look just like regular cards. So, color is a little bit off, I will say that, but they feel very, very real. So, very cool. Very good quality. Next up, we have Orichalcos Kiatora. Says, Rock Effect, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned from your hand by paying 500 life points. While this card is face up on the field, all battle damage you take becomes 0. When this card is destroyed, you can special summon 1 Orichalcos Shunros, Orichalcos Dexia, and Orichalcos Asteros from your hand or deck. So when this thing dies, you can special summon basically one of the huge boss monsters of this deck. So that's insane by itself, and its other effect is pretty damn good too. So, and I like how most of these cards, I believe the first version, I was kind of looking at these, but I believe the first version of these cards had pretty much the anime image of it, so it didn't have these very professional looking images. It had pretty much like cropped from the anime, so I'm glad that he went with these new images, because they do look really good. We have Orichalcos Malevolence. It's a Fiend, 1500 attack, 0 defense. Once per turn, you can switch 1 defense position monster your opponent controls to attack position. This would be a better card if it had more attack points, but because it's so weak, I don't know why that. I don't know why that's at 3, but pretty weak card. Decent effect, but not for that attack value. But then again, this is technically, like, way back in Yu-Gi-Oh! Days, so it has nothing to do with anything new in the meta and stuff like that. This is all very, very old-school effects and stuff, so if you were to play this back in the day, that would be just a fine effect. We got the Ritual card, Mirror Knight Calling. That's quite cool looking. It says, Spellcaster Ritual Effect. This card can only be ritual summoned with the ritual spell card Orichalcos Mirror. When this card is ritual summoned, special summon 4 Mirror Knight tokens, Warrior Dark type, level 0, 0 attack, 0 defense, with 1 shield counter on each. When this card is face up on the field, once per turn, place a shield counter, max 1 on Mirror Knight tokens without shield counters. When a Mirror Knight token with a shield counter battles an opponent's monsters, its attack is equal to one of the monsters it's battling. If a Mirror Knight token with a shield counter would be destroyed, remove 1 shield counter instead. So wow, it's pretty interesting, and there's 3 of these in this deck, so that's kind of crazy. So that is the Ritual card, it looks like. We got the Great Leviathan. This is... Wow. So this is the Great Leviathan. Common card for some reason. Cool looking monster. I don't know how I feel about this art, but that does look cool. So we got Great Leviathan. It says... This card can only be special summoned by attributing 3 Orichalcos monsters on your field and 1 Orichalcos field card. The summon of this card cannot be negated. This card is unaffected by monster effects, spell or trap cards. When this is summoned, destroy all cards your opponent controls and discard their entire hand. Then inflict 500 damage for each card that was destroyed and discarded by this effect. That is insane. So you tribute 3 Orichalcos monsters on the field and 1 Orichalcos spell card and summon this thing. Can't be affected by spell, trap, or monster effect, and then it basically completely wipes your opponent's board, and then they take heavy damage. That's kind of crazy. So I don't know why this is a common, but that's still kind of crazy. Next up, we got Orichalcos Shinros. Very cool looking art. Says this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by the effect of Orichalcos Kiatora. This card's original attack is equal to the total amount of battle damage reduced to 0 by the effect of Orichalcos Kiatora. So this thing's attack is basically the amount of damage that Orichalcos Kiatora sucked up. That's insane. that summon this card. Okay, if this card battles an opponent's monster after damage calculation, it loses attack to either the attack... Wait, what? It loses attack either to either the attack position monster's attack or the defense position monster's defense, depending on its battle position. When this card is destroyed while its attack is 0, special summon 1 Divine Serpent from your hand or deck. So this thing can summon the Divine Serpent by itself. That's insane. And then we got Orichalcos Dexia. It says, this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card can only be special summoned with Orichalcos Kiatora. When this card battles with your opponent's monster, the attack of this card becomes equal to either the attack position monster's attack or that defense position monster's defense. 300 during the damage step only. After damage calculation, one Orichalcos Shunrose you control loses attack equal to the attack of this card had during the damage step. When Orichalcos Shunrose is removed from the field, destroy this card. So when this thing dies, this thing dies. So it's only out basically until Shunrose dies. That's crazy. We have Orichalcos Oristeros, which says this card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except with Orichalcos Kiatora. When this card is selected as an attack target, the defense of this card becomes equal to the attack of the attacking monster plus 300 during the damage step only. After damage calculation, one Orichalcos Shunrose you control loses attack equal to the defense this card had during the damage step. When Orichalcos Shunrose is removed from the field, destroy this card. So, I mean, this is just basically the arm for Shunrose, and Shunrose is obviously one of the main boss monsters. That's interesting. So that's all the monsters. There's some crazy spell and trap cards in this deck. So, for spells, we have Orichalcos Mirror, which is, honestly, looks like the artwork for Fiend's Hand Mirror. Kind of. That looks very similar, but then it has the Orichalcos thing. Yeah, this looks like or Fairy's Hand Mirror, whatever that card is, that old school card. It looks very similar to that. I wonder if he kind of blended it. But it says this card is used to ritual summon Mirror Knight Calling from your deck. Whoa, wow. Mirror Knight Calling from your deck. You must also tribute monsters whose total level stars equals 6 or more from the field or your hand. So this summons them directly from your deck, so that's a pretty powerful ritual card. Interesting. I guess that's why it's rocking 3 of those and 3 of the Mirror Knight Callings, because those cards are kind of insane. We have Orichalcos Eye. So this is one of the custom-made cards. This was not in the original anime. Obviously, it has darts on there, which, that's insanely cool. But we got darts looking at you, and it says, once returned, you can pay 1,000 life points to add 1 Orichalcos card from your deck to your graveyard to your hand. So, Orichalcos Eye, it's continuous, and basically you could search for any Orichalcos card and add it from your deck or graveyard to your hand. But you do have to pay 1,000, so that's kind of a hefty cost, but it lets you search pretty much like anything in your deck. So that's pretty crazy. So you got Orichalcos Eye. And then at the end of the day, if you have this thing anyway, it doesn't matter because you the 0 attack points doesn't mean anything. If you somehow use that, I don't know how that would exactly work. You got Twinbow Centaur. Once another continuous. I remember this card. This card is like a really risky card. So it says, you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card's effect. Once returned during your main phase 1, you can select 1 monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, then toss a coin. If you call it right, banish the monster your opponent controls and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of the monster. Here's the problem. If you call it wrong, banish the monster you control and take damage equal to the original attack of the monster. So it's a very double-sided coin card. It's not that great because it's super risky, especially if you banish your own monster. Oh, it looks like they give you more than 1. Wow, they give you 3. This card's honestly not that great. It's very, very risky. If there was maybe a card to play off of it, then possibly. But it's super risky. And you can't attack the turn you activate it too. So then, of course, we got the Seal of Orichalcos. I believe this is the super rare of the deck. So it's interesting how he did the super rare. But we got the Seal of Orichalcos. This should be white. It shouldn't be, like, holographic. So that's very fake looking, but that's still kind of cool. Actually, the entire card is hollow. It says, this spell card's activation cannot be negated, and it cannot be destroyed or banished. So this is the only card that actually got printed out of this deck. It's the only card that actually got printed in the real game, but its effect was changed quite a bit. So this is the original anime effect. It says, sorry about all the flare, guys. This card's activation cannot be negated, and it cannot be destroyed or banished. Increase the attack power of all monsters by 500. By all of your monsters by 500. You control a back row of monsters that cannot be attacked while a monster is in the front row. Send this card to your hand or from your hand to the graveyard to negate and destroy any card. The soul of whichever duelist loses this duel is forfeit to the winner. So this card basically states that when the person loses, they lose their soul. Obviously, that does not happen in real life, but that is very funny that they kept that ending anime effect. And just in general, this is an incredibly overpowered card in the anime, and honestly changes a lot for even this game. And it looks like they have a common one as well, or he made a common one as well. Then we have, obviously, cards that were never made. Orichalcos Deuteros, which basically is the other field spell. It says, activate only if you control a face-up Seal of Orichalcos. Send it from your side of the field to the graveyard. You cannot activate this card during the same turn you activate Seal of Orichalcos. You can't stack the same turn. While face-up on the field, this card's name is treated as the Seal of Orichalcos, and it gains the effect of the Seal of Orichalcos. So it has all of those previous effects, but it also says, during your main phase 1, gain 500 life points for each monster you control. If your opponent attacks you directly, you contribute 1 monster to destroy the attacking monster. So that's pretty good. So you kind of can gain basically health back from using like Orichalcos Eye and stuff. Like, look at this seal, it's like just chilling there. Using Orichalcos Eye and stuff. So that's Orichalcos Deuteros, plus it has the effects of the regular Orichalcos as well. Then we have Orichalcos Tritos. Activate only if you control a face of Orichalcos Deuteros. Send it from your side of the field to the graveyard. You cannot activate this card during the same turn as you activate Orichalcos Deuteros. So you can never play over these cards every turn. You have to literally wait once per turn. Which is kind of crazy, because that means you literally have to survive like 5 turns to activate all these cards. It says, while this card is face up on the field, this card's name is treated as a Seal of Orichalcos and gains the effects of the Seal of Orichalcos and the Seal of Orichalcos Deuteros. If a monster you control would be affected by the effect of an opponent's spell or trap, you can negate the effect and destroy that card. So it gains the effect of that and the effect of this, plus it also gains the effect of negation and destruction on a monster. So that's pretty crazy as well. And it gains all the previous effects. Now, these are fake. These are cards that were never actually played in the real anime. He made them up, but these are kind of insane. So it says, activate only if you control a face-up Orichalcos Tritos. Send it from the side of the field to the graveyard. You cannot activate this card during the same turn you activate Orichalcos Tritos. While face-up on the field, this card's name is treated as the Seal of Orichalcos, and it gains the effects of Seal of Orichalcos, Orichalcos Deuteros, and Orichalcos Tritos. It says, once per turn, when one of your opponent's monsters activates this effect, you can negate and destroy it, then summon it to your side of the field in face-up defense position. That monster cannot be used for a Synchro Summon. Odd that it just says Synchro Summon, but then again, this was made in 2014. Probably very close to when Zexal was out. So, very, very interesting that, that card's effect. Then it says Orichalcos Pentos, so this is the final Orichalcos seal. It says, activate only if you control a face-up Orichalcos Quadros. Send it from your field to the graveyard. You cannot activate this card during the same turn. We're just going to skip all this, because this basically gains all the effects of the same one. And it says, once per turn, you can special summon 1 monster from your graveyard. Summoning conditions are ignored. So, once per turn, along with every other effect that the seals have, including the fact that they can't be destroyed, which is nuts, it says that summoning conditions are ignored, and you can special summon a monster from your graveyard once per turn. Doesn't require any summoning conditions, so that's insane. We got Orichalcos Sword of Sealing. It says, discard 1 card. Any effect of the equipped monster are negated. Any effects that the equipped monster activates when destroyed are also negated. So it's kind of like, you negate your monster's effect, but then when you destroy your opponent's monster, they can't use their effects. So, very interesting equip card. Doesn't do anything else besides that. Interesting. Next up, we have Impact Revive. Activate only during your main phase 2. Select and special summon 1 monster from either player's graveyard that was destroyed by battle this turn. Ignoring the summoning conditions, it gains 500 attack. You cannot conduct another... Wait, you can... Holy crap! So this card basically is a Monster Reborn that on top of that also gives that monster that you summon from your opponent's graveyard 500 extra attack, and you can conduct a second battle phase that turn. This is nuts. And there's more than... Oh my gosh. Okay. There's 3 basically Monster Reborns that also have a way more powerful effect. Is there any downside? You can only activate it during main phase 2. from either player's graveyard that was destroyed by battle this turn. So you can either destroy your monster that was destroyed, or special summon your monster that was destroyed, or your opponent's, and then it gains 500 attack, and ignores their summoning condition, and you conduct another battle phase that turn. That is absolutely nuts. That's insane. Next up, we got Martyr's Curse. So this is the trap. It says activate only during the battle phase. Select one face-up monster you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls. Those monsters must battle this turn. If your opponent's monsters is an effect monster, negate the effect until the end of the damage step. That's pretty good. It has 3 of them, so that's pretty good. And then this is also a brand new one. This is Orichalco Stone. So wow, okay, so this is the ultra rare. It is incredibly glossy. The card art's pretty cool though. So it says, when one of your opponent's monsters declares an attack, you can negate the attack, end the turn, and then draw 3 cards. Holy crap! If any of them are Orichalcos cards, you can send the other ones to the deck to add Orichalcos cards from your hand equal to the number of cards sent to the deck by this card's effect. What in the actual hell? This is a counter trap that negates your opponent's attack, ends their turn, and then you draw 3 cards, and then you basically get a mill, and then add more Orichalcos cards from your deck to your hand. That is absolutely insane. That is the last card that we have here. But yeah, that is a crazy deck. Let me know if you guys want to like see this deck like play against other decks just for fun. Obviously, it's not legal, but this is a very interesting deck. I can see a lot of playstyles with this deck. I don't know how good it would be to, like against like today's meta and stuff like that, but it definitely has some incredibly powerful cards that are absolutely broken. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys want to see another one of these like Pegasus fantasy card reviews for like his structure decks and stuff like that, just let me know in the comments below. If I was to rate this deck, I would give this deck probably like a 9 out of 10. It's very, very cool. It's very well made, and some of the effects on this thing is absolutely nuts. There are definitely some trash cards in here, but there's some absolutely insanely busted effects that would not be okay to play in the real game. So yeah, guys. Once again, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!